Okay, lesson 11.6, using area models. All right, so today's lesson is going to look a lot like when we did arrays. So if you remember back to chapter 9, when we were learning about arrays, we remember that for an array, we have rows and we have columns. And instead of adding up every single little square in an array, we can multiply our rows by our columns, and that will tell us how many we have in all. Okay, so today to find the area of our rectangles, we are going to be doing the same thing. Instead of counting by ones, all of our squares, we're going to multiply our rows by our columns. So the first one down below, I already went ahead and I filled in your numbers for you. So if you notice, I counted through and there was 18 unit squares. So let's go back to our story problem and we'll work through this. It says Christina has a garden that is shaped like the rectangle below. Each unit square represents 1 square meter. What is the area of her garden? Okay, so one way to solve is to go ahead and count through each square or square unit and figure out how many we have all together. Okay, so if you notice over here, since they are numbered, we have 18. So here I'm going to write 18 because there are 18 unit squares. Okay, so therefore my answer, or the area of this rectangle, would be 18 square meters. Okay. Okay, we're going to scroll down below. Another way to show it is by using repeated addition. And this was also another strategy that we used when we were multiplying. So first we're going to count how many rows we have. So I'll go over to our rectangle here, and first we will count our rows. Remember, rows are up and down. So I count 1, 2, 3. I have 3 rows. So over here, I'm going to write. Okay, so right here, since we counted up our rows, we said we had 3. I'm going to write the number 3. Next, I'm going to count how many rows. So go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or how many are in each row. So we have 3 rows of 6. And I know we are masters at our multiplication by now, so we know that 3 rows of 6 or 3 groups of 6 is 18. So here on this little square, I'm going to write the number 18. Okay, so over here we're going to show the example also using repeated addition. So these boxes here are asking you how many square units are in each row, or excuse me, yes, in each row. So this first one, there are 6, so I'm going to go ahead and write the number 6 here. Now what we know about an array is all the rows are the same. They have the same number in each. So my second row will also be 6. And my third row will be 6 as well. I have 3 rows of 6. So down below, I'll put it into an equation. So I have 6 in my first row, 6 in my second row, 6 in my third. So 3 groups of 6, as we said earlier, was 18. Okay, so the area of this rectangle would be 18 square meters. All right, same thing down below. We are going to show it now using an array. So instead of using repeated addition, we are just going to figure out how many we have in our row, how many are in each row, and multiply them. So let's go ahead, and I believe it is the same array as up above, but we will go ahead and double check. So first it says count the number of rows. So we have 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 rows. I'll fill it in here. Okay, and I'm going to figure out how many unit squares I have in each row. So I'm going to double check and count them. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I have 6 unit squares in each row. Okay, over here I'm going to go ahead and write my equation. So I have 3 rows of 6. Again, we did the equation up above. We know that 3 rows of 6 or 3 groups of 6 is 18. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in my equation down below. So 3 times 6 equals 18. All right, so today when we are finding our unit squares, we are also going to be relating it to arrays, okay? All right, so I am going to read this problem down below, and I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to see if you can answer it, and then you can unpause the video, and we can check answers. Okay, so the question read that the rectangle to our right is like an array. How do you find the total number of squares in an array? Okay, well, one thing that you can do is go ahead and count up each unit square, or a faster way, and we all know that Ms. O'Day likes to do math, the fastest way is that you can multiply the number in each row by the number of rows. Okay, so I think I already did write that for you, but go ahead and make sure that if I did not, that you write that correctly on the line below. Okay? All right, so the last part is asking us for our answer. We went ahead and we solved our equation. We said 3 groups or 3 rows of 6 would be 18 unit squares or square meters. So we're going to go ahead and write 18 square meters. Okay, I'll go on to the next page here. All right, so this page is very similar to the first. They're going to give you a rectangle and we need to find the area. Remember, the area is how many unit squares we have, okay? So find the area of the figure. Each unit square is 1 square foot. So we are measuring in square feet. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is count my rows, and I'm going to count how many are in each row. So counting my rows first. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So on this first spot here, I'm going to write 4. That is how many rows I have. Okay. My next number is going to be how many I have in each row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So my second number is going to be 10, my second factor. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and find our product. So remember, a factor times factor equals your product. I have 4 groups of 10, which would be 40. Okay, so the area of the figure to the right would be 40 square feet. Okay. All right, so down below we have another figure. And what I would like you to do is I would like you to go ahead and pause the video. They are using repeated subtraction here, and then they are just using a multiplication equation down below. So these are, again, 2 strategies that we can use to find the area of our figure, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and we will double check answers. All right, so hopefully you paused the video and you went through and found that we had 3 rows of 4 equals 12. So I showed it here with the equation and also here with repeated addition. So 3 groups of 4, okay? And we were measuring in square units. All right, so down below for 2 through 5 is the exact same thing. You are going to go through and find the area of the figure, okay? For these ones, all you really need to do is write the equation. If you would like to use repeated addition, you can, but I know this time in the year that we are good with our multiplication facts, so you do not need to use the strategy of repeated addition. You can just go ahead and write down the equation, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause, or have you pause the video, and we will check 2 and 3, okay? So the directions say to find the area of the figure. Each unit square is 1 square foot. So we are measuring in square feet. So make sure that your label is square feet, okay? We don't have square foots, we measure in square feet. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and take a look at number 2 and 3. All right, so hopefully you had a chance to pause the video and go through number 2 and 3. So again, you just needed to write the equation and then make sure that you had your label up above in the directions. It said that each square was equal to 1 square foot. That was our measurement. So your label should be square feet, okay? All right, so your first number is your rows. So I have 2 rows, and your second factor is your number in each row. So I have 7 in each. 2 groups of 7 is 14. So our area of this figure would be 14 square feet. Okay, same thing for number 3. Your first factor is how many rows you have. So you have 1, 2, 3. Your second factor is how many are in each row. And we counted out 5. So 3 groups of 5 is 15 square feet. Okay. Again, make sure that you have the equation as well as having the correct label, square feet. Okay. All right, so directions for number 4 and 5 are the same, except this time our label is different. So on your assignment today, make sure that you are reading the directions because your labels will change throughout the assignment. Okay? All right, so find the area of the figure. And each unit, again, is equal to 1 square meter. So again, making sure that you're reading the label. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and we will double check number 4 and 5. Again, your first factor is how many rows you have, just like when you're doing an array. Your second factor is how many are in each row, and then square meters will be your label, okay? All right, so go ahead and pause the video, and then when you are ready, we'll double check to our answers for 4 and 5. All right, so number 4, again, you count the rows first. So my first factor is 4. We have 4 rows. Our second factor was 8. We have 8 in each row. So my area for this figure would be 32 square meters. Okay. Again, same thing for number 5. I have 3 rows. And I counted 9 in each row. So 3 groups of 9 we know is 27. So 27 square meters would be your answer for number 5. Okay. All right, so that is lesson 11.6. Again, if you need to, you can always rewatch the video. Or if you have any other questions, you can always, or if you need extra practice, you can always log on to Khan Academy, and there are area videos that are assigned, and there are also extra problems dealing with area and perimeter. Okay. As you're going through the rest of your packet or for this lesson, make sure that if it's crossed off, those are ones that you do not have to do. Even on the assignment, make sure that you're following the directions and looking at your label to make sure you have the correct label. Okay. All right. So have a good day. This is lesson 11.6.